Law here from the Southern Oregon Land Conservancy with today's episode of Outside Every Day with Surreal. Today, I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks for making observations about animals when you're out and about, because they can be a little bit more challenging to observe and to record your observations than, for example, a tree, which doesn't move. So, if you see an animal and you want to make some observations and make some notes about it, the first thing to do is to remember to stay quiet with your body and your voice and start up a kind of casual little conversation about the things that you're seeing. And this can be kind of stream of consciousness. So you might say, oh, I can see that this bird has a kind of dull brown-gray body, but a really dark head and a distinctive line in between its head and its body. And it's kind of hopping around on the feeder. Oh, and it just did a little shake like it's getting the water off its wings. This kind of stream of consciousness will help you then later make notes about what you saw because you verbalized it. While you're having this little conversation, either out loud just with yourself or with a friend or a parent or a buddy, get out your trusty nature journal or just a piece of paper and continue as you're getting your journal out and getting to your page, continue that conversation about what you're seeing. And you can even say, hey, did you see that? If you have someone else with you, hey, did you see it? What was on the back? So that you can feed off of each other's observations. Once you've done about a minute of that and you have your journal out, then you can start writing notes, written notes, and you can also start making sketches. Now, you have to hold your sketches lightly because, of course, the animal will move probably quite a bit. And so I would recommend starting with one sketch, but as soon as the animal moves into another position, just go ahead and start a second sketch. Animals will often move between a couple of different positions, and so if the animal goes back to the position of your first sketch, just move back to your first sketch and keep working on that one. The other benefit of that is that you might get to see different sides of the animal. And so you start making observations not just about the front or just about the first position that you saw, but about the whole animal. Once you have some words and some pictures, then you can start drawing lines from the words to the pictures to help reinforce some of the information that you're keeping track of. Now, this is going to be messy, and that's okay. Animal observations have to be pretty speedy. But once you've had a chance to kind of settle into this rhythm, you can add a couple other layers. One layer is a numbers layer. And with the numbers layer, you might look at how many stripes are on this animal. If it's a bird, maybe you look at how many stripes or how many spots can you see on the wing. You might time the animal, count out loud. Okay, I can see it just perched on the feeder. I'm going to count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, until maybe it flies away. Or if you're watching a little lizard and it's doing its little lizard push-ups, maybe you count how many push-ups it does before it moves somewhere else. And so you can start adding those numbers to your notes in your journal. And then another layer is interactions. So that might mean interactions with other animals. So for example, I'm looking at a bird feeder and there was one bird and now there's two. And they're kind of taking turns on different perches. So that might be a number that I would, or an interaction that I would add, 2 different kinds of birds flitting around. Interaction might also be with a plant, right? It's not necessarily with another animal. So you might say this bird is pecking at the tree, or it looks like it's wiping its beak on the tree. Or it might be something like, oh, the lizard just ran in between 2 rocks. So the interaction isn't even necessarily with another living thing. It's just with whatever is in the environment. So as you're making these observations, you're taking some kind of scribbly, scrabbly notes. When the animal moves on, or when you have filled your page and you've looked as much as you want, then I encourage you to go back to that page and tidy things up a little bit. Definitely include the date, the time, the location, and the weather. Those are our bigger pieces of data that we can use throughout our nature journal to look for big patterns. And if you've been doing this activity with someone else, it's always a great practice to compare nature journals to see what you saw that was the same, and what are some different characteristics that you noticed that one of you might have missed but the other caught. So this is a great reason to always bring your nature journal along. Or if you're just sitting looking out the window, have your nature journal or a piece of paper close at hand so that you can practice this kind of quick observation and then later reflection on as you make sense of the notes that you took in the moment.